What would you do if a rock legend caught you singing his song, with a broken amp, on a street where nobody cared you existed? This is the unforgettable moment when Ozzy Osbourne stopped, listened, and changed the destiny of a boy who thought his voice would never matter. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to our channel, Voices of Darkness, and like the video, because more emotional rocker legend stories are coming your way. Share this with your friends if you love stories that touch your soul. Asterisk, asterisk, the cold street, the broken amp, and the boy who wouldn't give up. Asterisk, London winters were unforgiving. The kind of cold that didn't just turn your breath into frost, but slipped under your clothes and froze you from the inside out. People on Oxford Street moved fast, eyes down, hands tucked into pockets, rushing past everything and everyone, especially the forgotten souls who didn't fit into the city's polished rhythm. On a corner near a small underground station entrance, a 14-year-old boy named Liam stood shivering on a damp cardboard sheet. His hoodie was thin, the color faded from too many seasons, and his jeans were ripped, not because of fashion, but because life had worn holes in them. Beside him stood a small second-hand amplifier, its surface scraped and dented, a loose wire taped with electrical tape. It buzzed with static every time it tried to produce sound. The speaker grill rattled like an old man wheezing for breath, but Liam didn't stop. He held a beat sticker-covered guitar, strings old, frets worn, and he strummed with every ounce of strength left in his skinny hands. He closed his eyes, took a breath, and sang, "I am Iron Man." His voice cracked from the cold, but there was a spark inside, raw, untrained, but powerful. A voice that deserved a stage, not a sidewalk. A voice that deserved applause, not indifference. But people walked past him like he was invisible. A businessman had thrown 10 pence earlier, not out of kindness, but simply to get rid of the guilt of making eye contact. A group of teenagers laughed at his broken amp. A woman pulled her child away as if talent and poverty were contagious diseases. But Liam kept singing, because singing was the only thing he had left, because music was the only place where life could not hurt him. Asterisk, the secret he never said out loud. Asterisk, Liam wasn't a typical street performer. He didn't want fame. He didn't dream of going viral. He didn't even want money for selfish reasons. He just wanted to help his mother. She worked double shifts at a small bakery, and still barely brought home enough to pay rent. She was always tired, always smiling through the pain, always pretending everything was okay. But Liam knew better. He saw the overdue bills. He heard her crying quietly at night. He noticed how she sometimes didn't eat dinner so he could have a bigger portion. So he picked up an old guitar someone had thrown in the trash behind their building, fixed it with tape and hope, and began singing on the streets. Every coin mattered. Every tiny donation in his jar meant one more moment of breathing for their struggling life. But tonight was worse than usual. He had made only £1.20 in 3 hours. His fingers were frozen. His stomach growled. The amp buzzed more than it sang. Yet he kept playing Iron Man, not because it was his favorite song, but because it was his mother's. She used to hum the riff when cooking. She called it the song that makes the world feel less heavy. Liam wanted to give that strength back to her, so he kept singing, even if no one cared, even if the cold numbed his hands, even if the world ignored him. Asterisk, a black SUV, a shadow, and a moment he never expected. Asterisk, across the street, a massive black SUV pulled up quietly. The tinted window rolled down just an inch. A pair of round glasses reflected the streetlights. A familiar silhouette leaned forward. Listening, a security guard asked, "Sir, do you want to go around the back? Too many people here might cause attention." But the man didn't answer. Not yet. He was listening, really listening, to the boy's trembling voice, to the broken amp gasping to stay alive, to the raw emotion of a kid who had no audience except the cold air and God. The guard realized the silence meant something. He glanced again at the boy, then at the man in the SUV, and his eyes widened. Because the man sitting there, dressed in black, long coat, silver jewelry, years of legend etched into his face, was Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness himself. He whispered, "Is that Iron Man?" The guard nodded, confused. "Yes, sir." Poor kid's trying his best, but that amp is Ozzy didn't let him finish. He opened the door. The guard panicked. "Sir, wait. People will notice." But Ozzy stepped out anyway. Slowly, deliberately, drawn toward the trembling voice, like fate itself had grabbed him by the collar. Asterisk, when eyes met, the world stopped. Asterisk, Liam was mid-verse when the broken amp let out a loud bzzzzzztt and died completely. The speaker smoked a little. People laughed. Someone shouted, "Mate, get a real amp." Another threw a crumpled wrapper into his jar. Liam's face flushed red with humiliation. He swallowed hard, trying not to let the tears fall. He tapped the amp. He checked the wire. He tried to reconnect the cable. Nothing. Not a sound, not a whisper. Just failure. He whispered to himself, "Please, not tonight. Please." And that's when a shadow fell over him. Slow, long, commanding. He froze. Slowly he looked up. And his breath stopped. Standing in front of him, coat flowing in the cold wind, glasses glinting under the streetlights, expression unreadable, was Ozzy Osbourne. The boy's mouth fell open. His voice died in his throat. He dropped the guitar pick without realizing. "Ozzy," he whispered. Ozzy tilted his head, studying him. Then the legend smiled, a warm, proud, fatherly smile, and said softly, "Play for me, kid." Asterisk, "I can't. The amp is broken." Asterisk, Liam's hands shook. I can't," he stammered. "The amp, it's dead." Ozzy knelt beside the broken amp, inspecting it with surprising gentleness. "Looks like it's had a rough life." He chuckled. "But then again, so have I." Liam had no idea what to say. He just stared, wide-eyed, afraid this was a dream he would wake from. Ozzy stood up and placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "Kid," he said, "you don't need an amp to sing Iron Man. Sing it like the world depends on it." Liam swallowed hard. "But people will laugh." Ozzy leaned forward. "Let them laugh. You sing. That's what real musicians do." Liam took a breath, nodded, closed his eyes, and then, with nothing but his raw, trembling voice, he sang, "Am Iron Man." The note echoed across the street. People turned. Some stopped. Some whispered. But none of that mattered, because Ozzy Osbourne, the king of the stage, was standing there listening, truly listening, as if the entire world had paused for this one boy. When Liam finished, out of breath and shaking, Ozzy smiled, a real smile, a proud smile, and said, "Kid, you've got fire." The crowd that gathered, the moment that shook the street. Asterisk, news spread fast. Within minutes, a crowd formed around them. Phones lifted. Flashes went off. People whispered, "Is that really Ozzy? Who's this kid? Why is he listening to him? What's happening?" Liam looked terrified, but Ozzy raised a hand, silencing everyone. "Let the boy breathe," he said gently. "He's earned it." He turned back to Liam. "How long you been out here?" Liam shrugged. "A few months. And the guitar? Found it in the trash. And the amp? Bought it from a pawn shop for £12. It was all I had." Ozzy clenched his jaw. The anger wasn't at Liam. It was at the world that forced a child to survive like this. He spoke softly. "Where are your parents?" "My mom, she works late. It's just the two of us. And your dad left when I was 6. Ozzy nodded slowly. He understood abandonment. He understood pain. He understood the weight of growing up alone. He said, "Kid, no child should have to sing in the cold to keep his family floating." Liam looked down, ashamed. Ozzy gently lifted the boy's chin. "You're not weak. You're brave. Braver than most adults I've met." The gift that changed everything. Ozzy turned to his bodyguard. "Bring it." The guard hesitated. "Sir, are you sure?" Ozzy nodded. The guard walked to the SUV and came back holding a brand new black guitar case, polished and shining. People gasped. Liam blinked in shock. Ozzy opened the case, and inside was a custom signature edition electric guitar, deep midnight blue with silver hardware, pristine strings, and Ozzy's symbol etched near the bridge. The boy's legs nearly gave out. "I can't take this," he whispered. Ozzy laughed. "You already did." He placed the guitar gently into Liam's trembling hands. Crowd erupted in cheers. People clapped. Someone cried. Someone shouted, "That's the real Prince of Darkness." Liam stared at the guitar as if afraid it would vanish. This must cost thousands." "Don't worry about that," Ozzy said. "Worry about something else." "What?" "Your future. The amp miracle." Asterisk. Ozzy knelt again beside the broken amp. He patted it like an old dog. "You've served this boy well. A warrior till the end." Liam laughed through tears. Ozzy stood. Then he turned to the crowd. "Does anyone here know where the nearest music shop is?" Hands pointed. The shop was a block away. Ozzy looked at Liam. "Come on, kid. We're getting you a real amp." Liam froze. "AMP? A real one?" Ozzy winked. "You can't play Iron Man on a dead box forever." The crowd parted like Moses splitting the sea. They walked through. People filmed, cheered, clapped. For the first time in his life, Liam felt visible, felt valued, felt alive. Inside the shop, Ozzy bought him a professional amp, new cables, a stand, picks, strings, a small pedal board, and a case for his old guitar twin. The clerk asked who all this was for. Ozzy pointed proudly. "For the kid who refuses to stop singing." Ozzy makes a promise back outside. Ozzy kneeled to Liam's height and said quietly, "You remind me of myself when I was your age, scared, broke, unsure, but full of fire." Liam trembled. "I want to be like you one day." Ozzy shook his head. "No, kid, be better than me." He placed a hand on the boy's heart. "You've got this. Music chose you, and the world will hear you." One day, Liam's tears spilled over. "No one's ever said something like that to me." Ozzy smiled sadly. "Then the world hasn't been fair to you, until now." The performance that blew everyone away. Ozzy stepped back. People crowded around. He nodded to Liam. "Plug in the new amp. Let's hear you now." Liam's hands shook, but he set everything up. He took a deep breath, strummed the first riff of Iron Man. The sound exploded through the air, crisp, powerful, echoing down the street like thunder-given rhythm. People gasped. Phones filmed. A circle formed. Ozzy nodded proudly. "That's it. That's how it should sound." And for the first time ever, Liam played like he wasn't invisible. He played like a boy whose dream had just been pulled from the dirt and polished into something bright. He played like someone who had been seen by greatness. He played like he mattered. When he finished, the crowd erupted in applause. Ozzy stepped forward, put an arm around Liam and whispered, "Go home to your mother and tell her that her son is meant for something big." Ozzy's private call. Ozzy wasn't done. He called someone from his team. "I want you to keep an eye on this kid. Get him lessons. Make sure he's safe. And when he's ready," he paused, smiled faintly, "bring him to me." The assistant understood. "Sir, are you saying yes? I'm giving him a chance. A real one." Ozzy looked back at Liam packing his new gear. One day, he'll play on a real stage. 6 months later, Liam's life changed completely. He wasn't on the street anymore. He practiced daily. He took lessons, sponsored quietly by Ozzy. He got invited to small gigs. People followed his journey online after the street video went viral. His mother cried every night, but now from pride, not pain. And one day, a message arrived. "You're opening for me. 2 songs, don't be late." Ozzy. Liam collapsed to the floor in shock. His mother held him tightly. "You did it, baby," she whispered. "You made the world hear you." The concert that shook the world. The arena roared, lights blazed, smoke filled the air. Ozzy walked on stage to thunderous cheers. He held up a hand. The crowd fell silent. "I want to introduce someone brave, someone who sang Iron Man with a dead amp but with a heart louder than any speaker." He pointed backstage. "Come here, kid." Liam walked out trembling, guitar in hand, heart pounding. The crowd screamed his name. Ozzy leaned to him and whispered, "Sing it like you did on the street. But this time, the whole world is listening." Liam stepped up to the mic, took a breath, and sang, "Am Iron Man." The arena exploded. Ozzy watched from behind, smiling like a proud father. And in that moment, a boy who once stood invisible on a cold street corner became a legend in the making. Sometimes it isn't talent that stops us. Sometimes it's the world not seeing us. But that night, on a cold London street, Ozzy Osbourne saw a boy no one else saw, and changed his life forever. Because real legends don't just perform for crowds, they lift the ones who sing alone in the dark. If you love Ozzy Osbourne, share this video and help us reach our target of 1,000 subscribers. Subscribe now to Voices of Darkness. Like and share this story with your friends now. Prove your love.